Alhamdulillah, assalatu wassalamu ala rasulihil kareem, amma ba'ad, fa'auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir wa tamim bil khair wa bika nasta'inu ya fattahu ya fattahu ya fattahu. Allahumma faqihna fid din. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I hope and pray that you all are doing good, inshallah. So, in this lesson, today's lesson, lesson 71, we are going to study Muda'af in Mazid Fihi families, and we are going to do Sarf Kabeer. If you have watched the previous video in lesson 70, we started studying Muda'af words, okay? And in lesson 70, we did Sarf Saghir. So in this lesson, our focus is on Sarf Kabeer of Muda'af words in Mazid Fihi families. And as you learn some principles, some rules that are there for Sarf Saghir, over here in this lesson for Sarf Kabeer, we also have some rules which apply to all families in which the fusion occurs. What are those families in which the fusion occurs with Muda'af words? Those are all Mazid Fihi families except family 2 and family 5. Family 2, Bab Taf'il, or you can say Bab Allama, or the second family in which fusion doesn't occur is family 5, Bab Ta'allama, or you can say Tafarraqa. So other than those families, like if you see in third family, in fourth family, in sixth, seventh, eighth, and 10th family, fusion occurs. So these rules apply to all these families for Sarf Kabeer. Okay, so there are two rules. One is for past tense and another is for present tense. So in past tense, the shadda is undone at the hunna version. Okay, hunna version. You know, hunna is one pronoun. Is when we have hunna siga or hunna version, then hunna requires that there has to be sukoon on the third letter, lam kalma, right? So hunna needs sukoon on the lam kalma. That's why the shadda is undone. So there's no fusion in hunna version of past tense. And as you know, whatever happens to at hunna level and the level of hunna, then the rest of Sarf Kabeer follows the same pattern. So Shadda is undone at hunna version onwards. So onwards, anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antunna, ana, nahnu, all versions follow the same thing that happened at hunna. And when Shadda is undone, the two root letters, like root letters, second and third root letter, they separate. Okay. And then the second rule is about present tense, fi'l mudari, and this whole process of undoing shadda and the separation of two like letters happens only for hunna and antunna, only for anna and hunna and antunna sigat, hunna and antunna versions. Okay, so these in these two forms, the unfusion or the idgham is undone. In Arabic, it is called idgham. In English, we say that the fusion occurs in most of the forms, but in past tense, the fusion is undone. The fusion is undone at hunna, and it is like that onwards in past tense. But in present tense, the separation of the two letters or the undoing of fusion happens at hunna and antunna. Okay. So with example, when you see the examples, then inshallah you will know it very well, inshallah. So this over here we have two charts. One is for past tense and the other is present tense, and you can see that in past tense what we have, the root letters are sin, ra, and which family it is coming from? You can see yourself. It is coming from family 4 because there is hamza in the beginning and there's dhamma in mudari on the symbol of mudari. Okay, so asarra, you can see that there is a fusion over here in huwa form. Huwa asarra, huma asarra, hum asaru, hiya asarat, huma asarata. Then you see the two ra are separate. Asrarna, hunna asrarna. Why? Because the third root letter, there has to be a sukoon. The hunna version needs a sukoon on third letter. So hunna asrarna, and you know, in past tense, whatever happens at hunna version, it carries it is carried down other pronouns also. So anta asrarta, antuma asrartuma, antum asrartum, anti asrarti, antuma asrartuma, antunna asrartunna, ana asrartu, nahnu asrarna. So that's how the first rule applies over here, that in Hunna version, this fusion is undone, and the rest of the Sarf Kabeer follows the same pattern. But in Mudare, in present tense, this separation of second and third letter or unfusion happens only at Hunna and Antunna version. So Hua version has Shada. There is a fusion. So Hua Yusiru, Huma Yusirrani, Hum Yusirruna. So you can see all these forms or versions, or you can see Sigat, you see this Shada, okay? Hua Yusiru, Huma Yusirrani, Hum Yusirruna, Hiya Tusiru, Huma Tusirrani, Hunna Yusirrina, Anta Tusiru, Antuma Tusirrani, Antum Tusirruna, Anti Tusirrina, Antuma Tusirrani, Antunna Tusirrirna. Then Ana Usiru, Nahnu Nusiru. Okay, so this is how the two rules, we can see how the two rules are being manifested over here in past tense and present tense. Okay, so one thing I would like to do at this slide also is that since you have this Mudare chart in front of you, let me tell you one thing. Remember in previous lesson 70, you learned that in Sarf Kabeer, you learned that there are three versions of commanding and forbidding. So if you see like Tusirru, if you take Tusirru anta form and make Majzoom, so it would be Tusirra, Tusirri, and Tusrir. And then you are going to drop the symbol of Mudare. Then you will add Hamza Qatai over here. So Asarra, the commanding form would be Asarra, Asirri, and Asirir. So three version of commanding and three version of forbidding. La Tusirra, La Tusirri, and La Tusirir. But these three forms occur only in Anta form. Okay, why? Because in Anta form we have Dhamma at the end. So even if we want to make the Hua form lightest, it would take the same course. Like if you have lam or lamma before yusir, like you have to make it lightest because of lamma or lam or in. Then you have three versions of yusir majzoom: yusirra, yusirri, yusirir. And this three version rule applies to all those siga, all those version in which you have dhamma at the end. And if you know this group, like Hua, Hiya, Anta, Ana, and Nanu. This group is called 5 in your pocket, or you can, this is in Arabic, it is called Af'alul Arba. So in this group, if you want to make Majzoom form means lightest form. If you want to make it lightest, then it would be like Ana form, lightest would be Usirra, Usirri, Usirir. And the same way, Nusirra, Nusirri, Nusirir. Okay, so just keep in mind that the three forms of commanding and forbidding happens only in Anta form. Okay, and you know commanding and forbidding come from only 6 sigat, 6 forms: Anta, Antuma, Antum, Anti, Antuma, Antunna. Okay. And why the three different forms of commanding and forbidding do not happen with these sigat, these form? Because to make it like this, you just have to drop the noon. Okay, so you just have to drop the noon, because this group is with the one called noon comes, noon goes. You just have to drop the noon to make it majzoom. That's why there are no like only one majzoom or one lightest form is there. And in Antunna form, you know, these are mabni, like fixed. Hunna and Antunna, they remain the same in regular light and lightest form, right? So that's why it will be the same in light and lightest. Okay. Okay, now let's move to, actually we are moving on to the textbook so that we study other examples. Okay, so here we are on page 225 of Dream textbook. Okay, so at the end of the chapter, at the end of the 10th chapter, you will find these examples of Muda'af words in Mazid Fihi families. And this is Sarf Kabeer. Okay, so hold on, let me make it bigger. Okay, so why the Mazid Fihi families are like it has family 3 as the first family for Sarf Kabeer for Muda'af words, because there are no changes in family 3, sorry, family 2. Family 2 and family 5, there are no changes. So they behave, the words, Muda'af words, they are treated the same way as the regular word in family 2 and family 5. Okay, so that's why we have the first family in Mazid Fihi family with Muda'af word, we have family 3. So you can see Hajja, there is Shadda, Huwa form, Huwa Hajja, Huma Hajja, Hum Hajju, Hiya Hajjat, Huma Hajjata. And then past tense, hunna form, ha jajna. So the second and third letters are separate over here. So ha jajna, and then afterwards, the rest of the Sarf Kabeer is with, like follows the hunna pattern. So the rest of the Sarf Kabeer is without fusion, Okay. So anta hajata, antuma hajatum, hajatuma, antum hajajtum, anti hajajti, antuma hajajtuma, antunna hajajtunna, ana hajajtu, nahnu hajajna. Okay. This was past tense active, madi ma'loom. And then we have fi'l madi mabni lil mashhur and past passive. Again, you can see that all other sigha, just before hunna have all other sigha, they have fusion. Hujja, hujja, hujju, hujjat, hujjata. Then when it comes to hunna, this become the second and third letters separate. Hujajna, hujajna. Okay, then the rest follows the same. Anta hujajta, antuma hujajtuma, antum hujajtum, anti hujajti, antuma hujajtuma, antunna hujajtunna, ana hujajtu, nahnu hujajna. So the rest is the same. Okay, so this was the first principle which apply on past tense. Okay, now we move on to the present tense. So in present tense, you will see the fusion at every siga, every form except the hunna and antunna version. So you hajajna to hajajna. Okay. Otherwise, you will see fusion. The same happens with present passive, hunna and antunna version. They have separation, but other siga, they all have fusion. Okay. One thing I would like to advise you, since you know this is in the textbook, if you open up the textbook and see on page 225, so you have to do it in 2 steps. First step is, because you just learned two rules, so you just point out those like you see where those rules are being applied. So you just point out, okay, this is mudare ma'loom present active. So you just have to see hunna and antunna, and there is a separation of second and third letter, and the rest of the Sarf Kabeer has fusion. Okay. And in past tense, you are going to see hunna and hunna onwards. And in nahi, you will see the anta version has 3 forms. Anta form has 3 versions. Anta form has 3 versions in forbidding, fail nahi, and commanding fail. Haja, haji, hajij. Okay. So this way, you one step is like pointing to the important things, the where the rules are being applied. The second step you are going to do is you are going to say the whole Sarf Saghir of all these examples that are there in book 2 times, at least 2 times. Say the whole Sarf Saghir on your own. Take your time, like set aside 20, 25, 30 minutes. Say every chart 2 times. Okay. So this is the second step. Okay. So as you can see in Amar, you have 3 forms of 3 versions of Anta form and 3 versions of Anta in Nahi. But the Antuma, Antum, and Anti, Antuma, Antunna, they only one form is there. Why? Because they are made lightest just by removing the noon. Okay. And in Antunna version, This is the fixed version. So this is the same word, the same word you will see in regular form of mudare. In regular form of mudare, to hajijna, you will see actually to hajjajna, because over here in present tense active, we have yuhajajna and tuhajajna. So yes, okay. Now let's move on to the next family 4. And family 4 we just did asarra yusaru. So that's the same. Uhibba yuhibbu. And you just you can do the first step here, like in past tense, you in hunna version you have separation ahbabna instead of ahabbu, ahabbat, ahabbata, the fusion that is going on. But in hunna there's a separation, and once it is separated at hunna in past tense, the rest of the Sarf Kabeer follows the same. The same happens in past tense passive, uhbibna, and then the rest same. And then present tense, let me first clear this out. And then present tense, again, you can see that hunna and antunna has separation. Hunna and antunna has separation, otherwise there's fusion. And 3 forms of commanding and 3 forms of forbidding. Okay. Now, after 4, we were expecting that family 5 would come, but family 5 is not there. Why? Because there is no change with muda'af words in family 5. Okay. So that's why family 5 is not mentioned. And the example for family 5 is not there. It's not written in the book. Okay. So family 6. Family 6, we have tahabba, huwa tahabba. So you can see shadda over here. So from huwa to huma, feminine huma, you have fusion. But at hunna, it becomes tahababna, and the rest of the Sarf Kabeer follows the same pattern, like separation of second and third letter. Okay. The same happened with past tense passive, tuhu babna, and it remains the same. Tuhu babata, tuhu babatuma, tuhu babatum, like that. Okay. Now, same word, same family, present tense, active and passive. So in present tense, what do you expect? All the other sigat, all the other versions will have shadda on it, fusion on it, except for what? So these all have shadda, but hunna and antunna, there's separation. Yatahababna, tatahababna, yutahababna, tutahababna. Okay. But in present tense, only there are only 2 sigat in which the separation occurs. Otherwise, fusion is there all over in Sarf Kabeer. Okay. Amar follows the same. Anta has 3 form. Anta form of Fele Amar, 3 form. While antuma, antum, anti, antuma, and antunna, they have only 1 version. Okay. The same happens in Nahi also. The thing is, like we are applying the same rule again and again on each family. So there are, like, it seems like we are repeating the things, but I'm just trying to make it clear to you with every family. Okay. So family 7, in family 7, we have root letters sheen, qaf, qaf, and this it becomes in shaqqa in family 7, in shaqqa. So you can see you have shadda in huwa form, huma, huwa, huma, and then hum, then ya, then again huma. But in hunna, what happens? In shaqaqna, So in shaqaqna, There's a separation over here, and after hunna, the rest follows the same. And there is no passive form for past passive and even present passive. Okay, so there are no passive form. And in present form, present active, you can see yan shaqaqna, tan shaqaqna. Otherwise, there are future, like you can see shadda all in all other versions, all other sigat. Okay, same thing you will see, same observation in commanding and nahi. Then family 8, ihtazza, like I usually have Sarf Kabeer on my tongue, so I usually go with Sarf Kabeer. But here in today's lesson, we are doing Sarf Kabeer. So huwa ihtazza, huma ihtazza, hum ihtazzu, hiya ihtazzat, huma ihtazzata. And then in Hunna version, what do you see? In Hunna version, there is ihtazzazna. And the rest follows the same pattern of separation. اهتززت أنت اهتززت أنتما اهتززتما أنتم اهتززتم أنت اهتززتي أنتما اهتززتما أنتن اهتززتن أنا اهتززت نحن اهتززنا. Okay, the same happens in past tense, past passive. اهتززنا and هو is اهتزا هو is اهتزا, but in hunna form the separation happens and the rest of the sigat follows the hunna separation. Okay, then we have present form. Present form, what would you expect? You would expect that the separation you will see in hunna, yahtazizna, and hunna and antunna version. Tahtazizna. Hunna and antunna version, you will see separation. The rest of the rest of the forms, they have shadda. Excuse me. And then commanding and forbidding, same thing happened. 3 forms of anta commanding versions and 3 versions of forbidding for anta siga. But the rest of the 5 siga, they have only one version. Okay. Now 10th, istahabba, 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 istahabbu, istahabbat, istahabbata, and then istahbabna. So separation you can see and hear istahbabna. So separation happening at hunna and then the rest follows the same. The same happens in past passive ustuhbibna, and separation remains there until nahnu form. Okay, now the next present tense active and present tense passive, and in that you will expect that only you will see hunna and antunna version only in where would you see hunna and antunna version? Okay, yastahbabna, tastahbabna, yustahbabna, tustahbabna. Okay, so that's how the Sarf Kabeer is. I go over all the examples. Yeah, I went over all the examples, and then Ajbaf we already did. Ajbaf is 8th chapter and Muda'af is 7th chapter. Okay, so in next few lessons, inshallah, we will be covering Muda'af, maybe only one or two lessons. And we are going to learn Muda'af in Sulasi Mujarrad families, family 1. Okay, so if you have questions, you can ask me in the live session. Let's conclude this session with dua. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.